When you get rich, tell no one. Sounds like something a conspiracy theorist would carve into a wooden plaque at a flea market, right? But here's the thing that might actually blow your mind. Some of the wealthiest people you pass every single day, the guy in the cracked leather seat at the stoplight, the woman in the checkout line using expired coupons, they have more money in their boring savings account than most people will earn in a lifetime. And you'd never guess it. My name is James, and I think about money way more than is probably healthy. Specifically, I think about why people sabotage themselves the second they start getting a little ahead. If you want to actually understand what financial freedom feels like, instead of just playing dress up for an audience that doesn't care, hit that subscribe button. This one might change how you see everything. Before we get into why keeping your mouth shut about money might be the smartest move you'll ever make, let me ask you something. When you picture being wealthy, what's the first image that pops into your head? Is it you posing next to a rental Lamborghini? Is it a closet full of shoes you'll wear once? Is it walking into a restaurant and ordering the most expensive bottle of wine just to watch people's reactions? Here's what psychologists have figured out about us. Most people don't actually want to be rich. They want to look rich. And those two things are not just different. They're enemies. They fight each other. And understanding that battle is the difference between building a fortress and building a sandcastle. Why do you really want money? Get brutally honest. Strip away the noble answers about helping your parents or retiring early. Dig deeper. There's probably a little voice that wants other people to know you've made it. You want the nod of respect. You want the subtle envy. That desire isn't evil, but it is a trap. Because the moment you start showing off your wealth, you've hung a sign around your neck that says, "Please treat me differently." And I'm not just talking about criminals, though. Yeah, that's part of it. I'm talking about something more subtle and far more corrosive to your financial health. I'm talking about something called the invisible wealth strategy. It's the art of being financially invincible by being financially invisible. Stealth wealth is exactly what it sounds like. You accumulate serious money, but no one around you has the faintest clue. You live in a normal house. You drive a car that starts every time but doesn't turn heads. You avoid the lifestyle inflation virus that infects almost everyone who gets a promotion. Now, I know what you're thinking. James, what's the point of having money if I can't enjoy it? Fair question. Let's get there. But first, let me show you why broadcasting your success is one of the fastest ways to erase it. Privacy and security become real concerns the moment people know you have money. Wealthy people who flaunt it become walking targets. Not just for theft, but for scams, for lawsuits, for every grifter with a business card. There's a reason billionaires hire security and live behind gates. When you advertise your wealth, you invite problems you never had before. But security is actually the smallest worry. The real danger is how your relationships rot once money enters the chat. Suddenly, every interaction is stained with doubt. That new friend who's always available? Do they like you? Or do they like your wallet? That cousin who never called? Now they're texting every Sunday. This isn't cynicism. This is pattern recognition. Money changes the way people see you, and more importantly, it changes how they act around you. Some of the loneliest people in the world are rich people who can never be sure if they're loved for who they are or what they can provide. Here's something that might surprise you. A huge number of high earners choose to drive boring cars. We're talking about people making multiple six figures rolling around in 5-year-old Hondas and Subarus. Why? Because they've figured out a secret. Your car doesn't have to be a billboard. When you blend in, you get to experience something priceless, genuine human connection. Think about your current friends. How would those friendships shift if they knew you had 10 times more money than them? Would they still let you split the bill evenly? Would they still vent about their money stress? Or would a weird tension creep in, a subtle imbalance that wasn't there before? This is why so many wealthy people end up only hanging out with other wealthy people. It's not snobbery, it's survival. When everyone has the same resources, money stops being the elephant in the room. But here's the really juicy part. The pressure to maintain appearances once you start showing off creates a vicious cycle that can actually make you poor. Let's say you buy the expensive car to signal success. Now you need the clothes that match the car. Then you need the house that matches the clothes. Then you need the vacations that match the house. Before you know it, You're trapped in what I call the approval treadmill. You're running faster and faster, spending more and more just to keep up with an image you created for people whose opinions don't matter. There's an old saying about wealth that nails this concept. 3 levels of rich. When you're poor, you cut your own grass. When you're middle class, you pay someone else to cut it. But when you're truly wealthy, you cut your own grass again. Why? Because you've realized that freedom means doing what you want, not what you think rich people are supposed to do. That person cutting their own grass has figured out that possessions don't create happiness. Experiências do. Relationships do. The freedom to spend your time however you choose does. A garage full of cars that need maintenance, insurance, and constant worry? That's not freedom. That's expensive anxiety. This brings us to the most counterintuitive truth about real wealth. The things that actually matter in life either cost nothing or very little. Time with people you love, a good night's rest, a walk somewhere quiet, a conversation that changes your perspective. None of these require a bank account, but wealth can make them easier to access. When you're financially secure, you can work less and spend more time on what matters. You can travel to learn, not to post. You can pursue passions without worrying about the bills. And you can do all of this without anyone knowing you have money. In fact, you can do it better when they don't know. Picture this. You're at a reunion. The guy who used to make your life miserable is bragging about his bonus and his boat. You're standing there in jeans you've had for years, knowing you could buy his entire life story without checking your balance. There's something deeply satisfying about that moment. Not because you want to hurt him, but because you don't need to prove anything. This is the hidden superpower of stealth wealth. You get to move through the world with insider knowledge that no one else has. People treat you normally because they have no idea you've escaped the rat race they're still running. Let me give you a real example. I know a guy who built a construction empire. Every morning, he puts on worn-out boots and drives a beat-up truck to job sites. His crew has no idea he owns the whole company. He eats lunch with them, jokes around, and gets treated like one of the guys. Compare that to the contractor who shows up in a brand new luxury truck. Suddenly, everyone's asking for raises or assuming he's overcharging. Which one do you think has less stress and better relationships? When you're not broadcasting your wealth, you get to see people's true colors. You find out who's genuinely kind when they think you're just getting by. You learn who offers help without expecting payback. You discover which friends value your company, not your wallet. This insight is like X-ray vision. It helps you decide who to trust, who to keep close, and who to let drift away. Meanwhile, the person flashing cash is constantly wondering if anyone actually likes them. And let's talk about the practical perks. When service providers think you're a normal person, you get honest quotes. The moment they smell money, prices mysteriously increase. Your mechanic finds urgent repairs. Your contractor discovers necessary upgrades. Your financial advisor starts pushing products with high fees. There's an entire industry built around separating wealthy people from their money. The first step? Identifying who has it. When you fly under the radar, you avoid becoming a target. Now, let's tackle the big question. What's the point of having money if you can't enjoy it? This objection comes up every time, and it reveals a misunderstanding about what money is actually for. Money isn't for impressing people. Money is for buying options. It's for freedom. It's for reducing stress and increasing your ability to live on your own terms. None of those benefits require an audience. Think about the last time you were truly happy. Not distracted, not entertained, but genuinely content. Was it because of something you owned? Or was it a moment with someone, a moment in nature, a moment of flow, doing something you love? Most deep satisfaction comes from experiences and relationships, not objects. And here's the beautiful irony. When people don't know you have money, your experiences become richer and your relationships more real. Take travel. When you're not documenting every moment for social media, you actually experience it. You can stay in simple places and discover hidden gems that luxury resort hide you from. You can have real conversations with locals who aren't trying to upsell you. You can focus on the adventure instead of the content. There's freedom in removing the performance from your life. You stop living for approval and start living for satisfaction. This shift also makes you a better investor. When you're not bleeding cash on status symbols, you have more money to put into assets that actually grow. While others are financing depreciating toys, you're buying appreciating investments. While they're paying to look rich, you're compounding returns. The math is brutal and beautiful. Every dollar not spent on showing off is a dollar that can work for you for decades. Here's another angle nobody considers. When you keep your wealth private, you keep your edge in business. Nobody tries to price you out of deals because they think you have deep pockets. Nobody excludes you from opportunities because they assume you don't need them. You compete on merit, not on perceptions of your status. I've seen wealthy entrepreneurs negotiate every contract like they're counting pennies, and their businesses thrive because of it. Meanwhile, the flashy ones find that everyone expects premium pricing. Stealth wealth also protects you from one of the biggest wealth killers, the people closest to you. Family who knows you have money will find reasons you should share it. Friends will develop selective amnesia about splitting bills. Coworkers will expect you to fund every office collection. This doesn't make them bad people. It's just human nature. When people know you have more, they unconsciously adjust their expectations. The solution isn't to cut ties. It's to control the information. You can still be generous when you choose, but it becomes your choice, not their expectation. This approach becomes even more valuable when you realize how exhausting it is to maintain a wealthy persona. Think about celebrities who complain about the pressure of always looking perfect. Now imagine creating that same pressure for yourself, voluntarily, just to impress people you don't know. You'd be signing up for a lifetime of performance anxiety. The irony? The people most impressed by flashy displays are usually the ones who can't afford them. Actually, wealthy people, they see right through it. They know the difference between someone who has money and someone who's spending money they probably don't have. How many of those Instagram flexes are funded by debt? More than you guess. Social media has created an economy where people go into debt to create the illusion of wealth for strangers. When you embrace stealth wealth, you opt out of that exhausting game completely. You stop caring what your car says about you because you know it's just a tool. You stop worrying about logos because comfort and quality matter more than brand names. Here's something that might shock you. Some of the wealthiest people I know shop at bulk stores, use coupons, and drive cars until they disintegrate. Not because they have to, because they want to. They've realized that every dollar saved on nonsense is a dollar that can compound into real freedom. There's a psychological term for this, hedonic adaptation. Humans get used to upgrades incredibly fast. That first week in a luxury car feels amazing. By month 3, it's just your car. The thrill fades. The payment doesn't. The stealth wealth mindset also makes you a better decision maker because you're not clouded by ego. When you consider a big purchase, you can ask honest questions. Do I actually need this? Or do I just want people to see me with it? Will this improve my life? Or am I just keeping up with imaginary standards? These questions become your superpower. While others make emotional purchases they'll regret, you make calculated choices that align with your actual goals. Let's talk about what happens to almost everyone who builds wealth quietly. You develop what I call quiet confidence. It's this calm assurance that comes from knowing you can handle whatever life throws at you. Car breaks down? No problem. Medical bill? Covered. Want to take a spontaneous trip? Done. This confidence is completely different from the nervous energy of maintaining a flashy lifestyle on shaky ground. It's the difference between actually being secure and just looking secure. This confidence seeps into every area of your life. You negotiate better because you're not desperate. You take smart risks because you have a safety net. You sleep better because you're not worried about payments on things you bought to impress people you probably don't even like. Now, what about generosity? What if you want to help family, support causes, or treat friends? Stealth wealth doesn't stop that. It makes it more meaningful. When you give without an audience, it's not about tax write-offs or public recognition. It's about actually helping. You can quietly pay for a niece's tuition. You can anonymously donate to a local shelter. You can pick up the check without making it a thing. Your generosity becomes about them, not about you. So there it is. When you get ahead, keep your mouth shut. Let everyone else play the exhausting game of financial theater. Build your wealth quietly. Enjoy your freedom privately. And remember that true prosperity isn't about what you own. It's about what owns you. The best kind of rich is the kind nobody sees coming. If this shifted something in your brain, hit that subscribe button. And if you want to know the exact steps to build wealth without the performance, watch this video right here. I'll see you in the next one.